Hey guys, we are back. I am Morgan
I'm Jamie.
and we're Construction and Style. So we're doing a little series so that you guys can get to know us better as people, as a husband and wife, as a team, as a family, get to know our processes, get to know our challenges, wins, and anything that you want to know behind the scenes when it comes to a design build company. So our previous video, we shared a little bit about us, how we got started. And today I have a list of questions here. We're going to go over our challenges and wins. The question is, we're going to share the biggest hurdles you've faced as a couple, as a team, and as a family, and how you've overcame them. We're enjoying outside too because there's only so many days left of that. I'm going to ask you a question first, honey.
Okay.
What was one of the most unexpected challenges you've encountered within construction as a team? So like building a business in construction, and how did you navigate through it?
That's a tough one. I think probably navigating how, like, every client you have is different. As a remodeling company, we're mainly in the home while the client is living there. Everybody's different, how they live their life, what time they wake up, if they have kids, if they have like a dog running around, like every little detail like that, where you have to read people on the front end and figure out, number one, if it'll be a good fit for our team to continue down the path of doing this project for them. And then the during, just managing emotions. And with construction, you run into hurdles on every portion of the job. So, like, making sure we're communicating well with the client on the front end and during to navigate all that.
Yeah. I love how careful you were being with your choice of words. I agree, though. That was really good. Okay, can you share a moment where a failure or setback led to a breakthrough in your team's process?
Yeah, I think every time you have any kind of failure in life, you have to learn from it. And if you don't, you're going to repeat it. So, like, anytime we have a big failure as a team, I always like talk about it and go back to the drawing board, figure out why it happened and how to mitigate the chance of that happening again.
Yeah. And I'd say, too, we've had a lot of failures in our building our company from the ground up, building our team. We figure things out very quickly, and then we try to make changes quickly. And also, we don't take things lightly. And so when we have hit hard times, like it really hits us. I'd also say on that, which I remind you all the time, maybe even I did today, but just that a lot of books that I've read, they always talk about hitting rock bottom or hitting the biggest failure and stuff like that. And it's almost like you need that to become even a better version of yourself. And if you don't have those obstacles in your life, whether that's in your personal life or your business life, you're never going to be the best of the best. And so sometimes, unfortunately, I try to thank God for being like, thanks for just making us take that really hard hit, because never ever will we let that happen again. And we've definitely changed processes. So I'd say anytime, any single time we've lost money on a job, we have changed our process because of it.
And a good way to look at it to help, I don't know, accept it is thinking like, okay, we paid for that education like you would if you're going to a college.
Oh, that's
like
good.
you pay for education.
Mm-hmm.
Whether the education is 10,000 or over, I don't know,
Hundreds of
100,
thousands of
yeah.
dollars, which we've had to do both.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a great way to look at it. And yeah, and even I would say too, with like team and camaraderie, and we've had to let people go. And it's after the last time that happened, I'm like, I never want to experience that again, ever. So let's set ourselves up. Not that saying that's not going to happen again, but like, don't take things lightly. We changed the way we work, hiring for new roles. We didn't rehire for those roles. I'd say all that has changed too.
Yeah, and just making sure you like think through how you can work with people.
Yes.
And just making sure, like, it's shitty, but you can't trust everybody and you can't always believe everybody's word.
Which is so sad. And also, this conference I was just in yesterday, which I loved, Mark D. Williams said he's trying to remove like promise, because he said like one thing he's teaching his kids is to believe his word. So he doesn't have to say, I promise I'll do this, I promise I'll do that. And he's working through that, like partnerships, his vendors, where he's like, if I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. I don't need to say promise. I don't need to double remind them. I don't need to double ask. And so that's an expectation now that he's trying to achieve from his team, because that is going to be from his word. And I was like, I just love that. Like, how sad too that we've lost that in humanity within our industry, where it's like, you say you're going to be somewhere, be there. If you say you're going to do X, Y, and Z, do that. And the same comes from clients too, where it just hit me like, we need to reset that expectation with clients. If you say you're going to do this, we're going to hold up our end of the deal. You guys need to hold up yours too. Like, we are a partner, we are a team. So I like that. Biggest question we always get asked, what is it like working as a husband and wife? And how has working together strengthened your ability to overcome challenges?
Yeah, my favorite question. How do we work together? I think we really balance each other out. Everybody who knows Morgan, she's very extroverted and I'm more introverted. But I think we both have that like middle ground too, where we can be the other way if we need to be too. But then as far as like working together, our day-to-day doesn't overlap a ton. But that kind of helps mitigate issues that we don't like butt heads with each other, because we both have the same end goal, the same vision. And I don't know, not to say that we agree on everything all the time, but we know each other's lane and we try to stick to that and help each other, lift each other up.
Yeah, I would say the biggest thing I was told early on in our career from Katie from JCath was stay in your lane. And I just always remind myself of that too. If I don't agree with something Jamie's doing, which is often, and he doesn't agree with a lot of things I'm doing or a lot of design choices. Huh?
It's often.
For you?
You don't agree with things I do often?
Just this morning, I had to say, not that I don't agree, but I'm like, this is what I would do. Instead of telling him, go do this or do it this way. Like, he was running into a situation that you're trying to overcome. And so I'm trying to stay in my own lane. This is not my department that he's talking about. So I was trying to say.
But we already handled it like you told me to handle it.
Good job, honey. But that to be said, though, like, I have to be aware of that. That is not my lane. If he's coming to me for advice or suggestions, like, I have to treat it just like anyone else. And so I have to. And I always say, not everyone can work together. And sometimes I think because people see that we can, they're like, oh, we can do that. And I'm like, no, like, your career is your career and your family is your family and your husband, your spouse is something. And if that is something that can't happen, like, by all means, like, don't challenge that, because it's just not worth it. Like, careers can come and go. Your relationship with your spouse can't. And that is something also that I remind myself of. And yeah, just like Jamie said, we also do have two different personalities. So it does complement one another for the work that we do and the jobs that we do. But we definitely have a lot going on within our company. So there's so much that I'm working on that he's not working on. And there's so much he's working on that I'm not working on. So we're not together all the time. It's very rare we're together. It's very hard for me to even get him to be home to record videos such as this. And then I think it just comes back down to respect too. Like, we respect one another and we hold that space for one another. And I think it's really fun and cool because we are working on the same vision. We are working on the same goals, and we're always like looking at that. And so even though these little problems and situations that we have to overcome, we're both like, keep our eye on the prize. Yeah, I would say too, it does suck when we hit those roadblocks or those speed bumps, especially because our financial means comes from one source. It's not from two different companies. But we're just both grinding, and sometimes that can take us down. And again, in those moments, I always have to say, like, he's low, I need to go high. And he knows if I'm low, he needs to go high. Like, we just can't both be in the lowest of low when we hit those moments, or we're not going to make it.
Yeah, and trying to keep our day-to-day apart from our family time. It can be really hard. It does bleed over.
Always. It always bleeds over. I'm like, if you are someone that you're like, now is family time, work shuts off. If you run a company together, work doesn't shut off. Like, unfortunately, I don't believe it really can. Like, sure, you can have those boundaries in those moments, but even when we go on vacation, I don't remember the last vacation that Jamie and I went on with our family where we're not sure we can not work, but something is always going on. Every vacation I can think of, I'll think of that trip and I'll think of something that was happening back home that was like just hurting a little bit. Like
Yeah.
those things come, there's never this turning off because it just can't. Okay, how do you navigate? Oh, this kind of bleeds into that. How do you navigate the balance between personal life and professional challenges when they overlap? Do you have anything to add to that?
Don't think you really do balance it, but I think you have to learn when and where to shut it off.
Yeah.
And again, like the high and the low, like if Morgan is dealing with something or we both are, then we have to, one of us has to like step up a little bit more and be like, all right, I'm just going to put that behind me and be in the best mood I can be for our family.
Mm-hmm. Which is hard.
Yeah.
What are some of the biggest wins you've experienced that you believe came from working so closely as a couple?
And I think everything. I don't think we would be where we are without each other. Like, sure, I could be running a remodeling company, but would we have the leverage or the like national recognition that we have without Morgan? No, because I wouldn't be online like she is. And to flip that, if she didn't have me, like there would be really nothing on the construction of style end for her to be online about.
Yeah. I often think of that actually. I'm like, could I run this without Jamie? And then I'm like, absolutely not, nor would I want to.
Parts of it, we could both run parts of
Yeah,
it.
for sure.
Like we'd have to lean on our team. Even then, it's
Or
it was
manage.
different.
Yeah. And I think what's so cool too is like Jamie, who, like I always say this too, like in the beginning when we started, he was doing a lot of the designs and people that just assumed it was me. And I'm like, Jamie just has a very creative mind and he has a design savvy mind. He knows how to put things together. He knows how to think outside the box. He knows how to pour that creativity into his craftsmanship and his projects. And so even sometimes there's movements and stuff like girls can do this too. And I'm like, no, I just would rather not. And I would rather,
Well, it goes both
I would
ways. Like
rather have,
people think, oh, the guy's the one swinging the hammer
Yeah.
and the girl's
right.
designing everything. Whereas, yeah, early on, I had a huge role in the design.
Mm-hmm.
And until we hired a designer,
Yeah,
like I did a lot of it with Morgan.
for sure. He did all the plans, all the drawings. I was like, absolutely not. Okay, what strategies did you put in place to prevent burnout while overcoming big obstacles as a team? 2 more questions.
Oh, burnout. Yeah, that's a tough one too.
That is a tough one.
I don't think you can prevent it. But I think for me, to help with the burnout is like changing what I do day to day. Like I'll be in the field for a day. I can be on my computer for a day. I can be in multiple roles throughout the company where I'm not doing one thing every day. If I was a tile guy and I was laying tile every day, no, I'd be burnt out for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And that would go for everything. Like I wouldn't want to be on my computer every day either.
Yeah.
So like changing it up, doing things different, a fun new project that maybe they're doing something different, like anything like that. I hate doing the same thing over and over again.
Mm-hmm. So and I would add to that and say that is true because we are constantly, every day is so different. But what is not different is we do have habits, we have healthy routines that we both do, and that has definitely, I need to have that in place every day. And I would say, like within our industry, burnout can go up and down in one day. Like you can go from extreme high to extreme low within one day. Whereas a lot of other times burnouts can be over the course of a month and then you crash.
I think that can be like in any industry if you're running your own company.
Mm-hmm.
Like running your own company is difficult in its own.
Yeah, true.
So like the high and low is like the high and low. Like the highs keep you going and like the lows, you're like, why am I doing this?
Yeah. So I'd say a few things that I've practiced even more and more over the last year is just really having boundaries, and boundaries in a way that when something bad happens or something that just like really would take me under, I just have to, I know what to do now, like mental exercises to do to remove that from my mind and not have it live inside my mind in order to continue to enjoy the things that I love about what we do and why we do it. Because we both do love our industry. We love what we do. We've talked often about like, if we could do anything else, like what would we be doing right now? And I always go back to, I love content creation. I love marketing. I love working with homeowners. I love the fact that we're getting to create these spaces that people live in. And you've said that too, like you love carpentry and you love being a contractor, but the things that lead to burnout are the things we don't love about our job. And so we're working on building people to put the right tools and people in place so that we can have boundaries around things that really do lead us to burnout. Right?
Right.
And Jamie thinks he can do everything. So sometimes I have to be like, honey, nope. This is why you hired X, Y, and Z. Remove that from your plate.
Not anymore.
Huh?
Not anymore.
Okay. Okay. Last question. What was the role of leadership in guiding the team through challenges, and how do you empower team members to overcome hurdles on their own? This one's really hard for me because I'm someone too that I'm like, I can just do it. Like it'll be quicker, it'll be more efficient, and I don't need to redo it. So this is something I'm really working on right now in my leadership, is truly, well, one, being confident in a leader. It wasn't long ago that I was like, I'm the worst leader. I'm the worst leader. And I'm like, no, I'm not the worst leader. I'm a great leader. We're great bosses. We care about our team. We care about our company culture. And so one thing, when they do hit roadblocks, the first thing I'm asking is, how can I help? What can I take off your plate? Really trying to empower them to ask them the questions and not just say, I'll do it. I'll do it. Just say like, how can I help? Do you have any ideas of how we can get over this? What can I do to assist you to overcome that? That's my biggest thing, is truly just asking questions, and also asking instead of telling, being like, are you open to some feedback, or are you looking for some guidance here, or do you just need a vent? And then answering that way. Because another thing I'm constantly reminding myself and Jamie is that when we're creating a team, that means we're buying back our time. So the more people we hire, the more time we should ultimately have to be working on other things or enjoying our life or our family or one another. So if they're not taking things off our plate, and that comes with problem solving, like we shouldn't be the ones problem solving everything. They should be coming to us to just say, this is what I'm doing. Great. If they need approval, which very rarely they need approval from us. So I'm trying to just empower that way, that tell our team all the time, like, you guys treat this company like it's your own and build it like it's your own. What would you do in this situation? We really empower them by saying, this is your company too, and it's not just ours.
Yeah.
What would you add to that?
I don't have a lot to add to that. I think you nailed it. But yeah, just empowering them and being like, treating them like they are an owner of the company. Like, we run everything by our team.
Yeah,
like,
we do.
To be like,
yep.
What do you think? Here's what we're like thinking we're going to do. Ultimately, in the end, like, it's our final choice, but being open. And I think if you empower your team, then they feel needed and wanted, which obviously we can't do what we do without our team.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, we get buy-in from all of them. We don't make decisions without all of them being on the same page.
Yeah. And yeah, then you're not like, I don't know, hardcore leader where this is what, like, how we're going to do it, my way or the highway. Yeah. And if they do run into an issue, we've been doing this for over 10 years now. We've, I hope anyway, run into most of the issues that we can run into, so we can know how to navigate things like that. But again, everybody's life has a different, I don't know, experience where they might have, I don't know how to say it, but
yeah, perception.
Yeah. Like, even if I have a question, like, I can lean on our team to be like, what would you do here? And I value their feedback.
Mm-hmm. And we're very real, raw, and honest. And we're ourselves. We all show up just the way we would anywhere else. Love it. All right. I hope you guys enjoyed this little episode of sharing about our challenges and wins at Constructionist Style. And we'll be back next week. We're going to be sharing more about design build series. We'll be walking through projects. We'll be talking about custom builds versus remodels. We'll also be talking more about brand building, marketing, and sharing different tools of the trade, whether that comes to new tech within the industry that we're using, or how to work smarter, not harder, and be more productive.